From the San Francisco and Oakland Bay Area comes MC, producer, singer, and educator Lil MC. Fresh off the release of her new single Lucid, produced by Who's, Lil MC continues to build towards the release of her new album, Where Did All the Dreamers Go? Renowned for her singing, complex rhyme patterns, bilingual bars, and tenacity on the mic, Lil MC brings a powerful blend of West Coast hip hop, Latin trap, and cyberpunk rap. In addition to Lucid, this year she's also released the singles Built to Break and Rat in a Cage, following her standout 2024 album Flex Machina, a project that showcases her sharp lyricism and futuristic vision. In addition to her music, Lil MC is a hip-hop educator, founder of Queens of the Underground, and a cultural ambassador who uses hip-hop to empower youth, uplift women, and build community. Tune in to learn about her journey in music, the making of her upcoming album Where Did All the Dreamers Go, and what she's got coming next on the Cristopolis Show number 283. From the Bay Area comes MC, producer, educator, activist, Lil MC. We're going to bring her in and talk to her about her new single, her upcoming album, and her amazing career. Let's bring her in. Peace.
Hey, what's good? Can you hear me?
I can. You sound perfect.
Wonderful.
It's an honor to have you on. I feel like this has been like a long time in the making. I reached out to you years ago, and the timing and everything kind of came to this moment. And you've got a lot going on, a lot to cover. Very exciting moment in your career. Thank you for being on the Cristopolis Show.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad the stars aligned and we made it happen.
Yeah. So you just dropped a new single, Lucid. It's in the build up to a new album. Talk to us about Lucid.
Yeah, so the new album's a little complicated, but I guess we can dive into it, and I love talking about it. So I'm writing this new album in conjunction with a screenplay, which, by the way, I have no business writing a screenplay. But I love to write, and it's called Where Did All the Dreamers Go? And I'm obsessed with science fiction, obsessed with dystopian, futuristic, apocalyptic themed literature and movies and whatnot. So it's actually a screenplay that takes place in San Francisco 25 years in the future, basically
Wow.
taken over, and most people have lost the ability to dream and create, aside from like a handful of people called the dreamers, and their dreams are actually projected onto screens for the elite to watch as movies because there's no more movies, there's no film industry because everyone's so absorbed with like short form content. So I say all that to say that Lucid is the first song off of my album, and the screenplay has dreams in it, and each song is paired with a different dream in the screenplay. Does that make sense? It's a little complicated. Yeah.
Got it. That's fascinating. First of all, the whole concept of the screenplay of the movie, of the idea that you have is so fascinating because it's real. I mean, we're moving in that direction, right?
I know. It's scary. I know. And I started writing this like 2 years ago. And what's really crazy is that the idea came to me in a dream that I had.
Oh, wow. Got it. So Lucid is a single off of the album. Now, just to make sure that, we got all the pieces, this year you've also released some other singles, right? You did Rat in a Cage, Built to Break. Are those also part of this album, or were those like Lucy's?
Man, you did your research. I love it. Those were Lucy's. Lucid is the only track off the album that I've dropped.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Because I want to make sure as because I didn't know if it was a build up or you're like, I got this. I'm just drop this. Because we're in this culture now where like you have to continually, not that you have to, but you're grinding. You're actually grinding, right? You're like coast to coast, making moves, making things happen. So you're feeding your public. So I wasn't sure if that was part of where the dreamers go or if it was, something separate. So that's good to clarify for incredible songs, right? But Lucid is the first.
More like every Lucy leading up to it, but I didn't have my shit together like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
from on
yeah,
out, all of my singles are gonna be from the album though. Lucid was the first one.
got it. Album is completely produced by Who's. How did y'all connect?
I met Who's because he engineered the song Lavender Fields that was produced by 10 Beats, featuring Vel 9. He's one of Vel 9's biggest collaborators, I think main engineer. But as you probably can guess, I love Vel. I'm like a huge fan of her music, and so
Yeah.
and he like really challenges me and pushes me into creating stuff that's like that like I really want to create, but it's like at a much higher level. So it's very like I don't even know. It's just on a level of lyricism that really pushes me to be like, man, I gotta like come and deliver when I like record with him. Like
Yeah.
it's not time to play. Like I really have to like bar out and go crazy because he records like some of my favorite rappers.
You and Bell and I sound so amazing together. Lavender Fields is such a dope track. It's dope. I didn't know that he had produced that, so now it makes sense that he made this album. Since we're on the topic, and y'all are, it's such an amazing collaboration because two powerful Latinas, incredible with the pen, amazing presence, both beautiful, both different, right? Collaborating on a track and with a cool track, right? The visual is really powerful. The everything. Maybe talk to us a bit about Lavender Field, and then we could jump back into the new album.
Yeah, for sure. Just to clarify, Who's didn't actually produce it. 10 Beats did. Who's engineered it, mixed and mastered. Just because I got to give 10 Beats his flowers. He's
For
like one of
sure.
the super change, super talented. Um, yeah, I think with that record, we were trying to do something that was kind of like a more feminine perspective and more lyrical on something that sonically sounded like Larry June, Alchemist type beat, which are like
Yeah.
some of my type of beats. And then I think the concept we really were just trying to get, like very evoking kind of like the feminine mystique. It's like the topic that I like to dive into a lot is kind of
Mhm.
like realizing how women have been depicted, culturally, biblically over time, how we've like oftentimes been misrepresented or maligned in a lot of ways. When you think about Eve, or you think about Pandora, or you think about, witches being burnt at Salem. Like I
Yeah.
love playing with those topics. And so Lavender Fields was really inspired by that, like just tapping into the divine feminine and kind of trying to get more lyrical with it and less like surface level and ratchet that I think happens when like a lot of females collaborate together. Like it tends to get like just super hypersexual, which isn't bad,
Yeah.
but
Right, right. But you wanted to show, well, one, that there's more depth to your thought and that there's more power to your pen, right? And then you're collaborating with one of the great lyricists of right now with Vel 9. So, it's dope to like, um, exchange bars and exchange wordplay. Talk to us about that connection, how y'all collaborated. I know that you did a show with her out there in San Francisco, right? You're just jumping into all of your right. The what is it called? It's called the Queens of the Underground,
yeah.
right? So talk to us about how that all came together, and then Lavender Fields, how the collaboration came about.
Yeah, I mean, our relationship is really cool. I founded Queens of the Underground like right on the end, right out of the end of COVID, when things started opening up. It was it was at first just meant to be like one show. And the reason why I wanted to put on a show and like feature all these women, artists, DJs, dancers was because I just felt like in my experience as a woman, like oftentimes it was really under promoted, I was underpaid, undervalued, and I just like wasn't seeing the level of production that I felt like we as women in hip hop that were super talented deserved. And so I was like, I'm gonna put on this show, and I wanted to bring out a headliner that I felt like one, like I'm a fan of, like I'm a fan of women rappers, like a big
Yeah,
fan, study them, and I find them, discover them, support them, and all that stuff. And Belle was an artist that I've always been a fan of, and then also like artists that I felt like might translate where my music might translate over to their fans. And so that show was like one of our most successful Queens of the Underground shows. And from there, it became kind of something that we did quarterly. Now it's something, man, I kind of like refocusing on my own art this year because like last year was like really stressful with throwing shows and stuff like that. But just kind of like putting less pressure on it and just letting the Queens of the Underground brand be a show whenever the opportunity arises,
yeah.
collaborating. After that show, I reached out to Belle and we actually did a song called Ain't No One Checking For You. And then after that, I reached out and was like, would you want to do like a little mini NorCal tour? And so last year, 2025, we hit four cities: Sac, Vallejo, San Francisco, and Santa Cruz. And then Lavender Fields.
That's so dope. And then the visual for Lavender Fields, I mean, like, who put that together? Because it looks so good.
I mean, her man Surrealist is the one that filmed and directed it. So shout out to him
Wow.
to be filming the music.
What a talented couple, right? What a beautiful thing in hip hop, right? And what a talented couple.
They're amazing. Yeah, super talented. But he's gonna be shooting my music video for Lucid tomorrow. Actually, I'm heading out to LA tonight, and
Right? Because
Bella's.
you gotta show this. You just that's what I'm saying. I'm lucky I caught you, right? You could be out here for a show.
Oh yeah, word. I should have just tapped in with you in the flesh. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Uh,
dope. That's dope. So you said that Surrealist is gonna shoot the Lucid video because you've been doing sizzles, right? You've been doing like visualizers and pumping it. But there's like but see, I'm so curious, right? Because I love movies. I mean, it's like my other passion, right? And I love science fiction actually, and so I'm wondering, you're making kind of like um. Is it maybe like a little bit of like a movie album where the visuals are gonna kind of because it's a screenplay?
yeah. So it's a little different because so each song is paired with a dream that's in the screenplay, but the dreams aren't necessarily part of the storyline. Because, like I said, the
Oh.
directed for the elite to watch as like movies. So the only music in the screenplay is when the main character, nicknamed the hymn because she dreams musically, dreams for her patron. So my album isn't gonna be like a movie or anything like that. It's gonna be its own individual songs. It's just gonna be paired with a dream in the screenplay. It's kind of complicated and crazy, but
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I think that's such a creative idea because it allows the album to breathe and it allows the visuals for the album to have like a dream state and to be very different and have a you know, it's funny because it's his name, but have a surreal like aspect to it, like maybe like a Salvador Dali, which has very like dreamy type, right? So you can do things like that in the visuals, but the actual screenplay and whatever comes of that could be a standalone thing, and this is just a small, this is like the dreams within the screenplay. It's dope. It's super dope.
yeah, exactly. It's meta. I mean, it's just I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of like for me, it's always been really hard because like I love making all different types of music. I'm sure you kind of went down the rabbit hole and
Yeah,
found
yeah, yeah. It's a little rock, a little, you're Latina, you know what I'm saying? There's a little, you know what I'm saying?
So it's like I've been really trying, and shout out to Who's because he really challenged me to like really make something that's more cohesive.
Yeah.
Because I would do a favela funk record, and then I would do like a Jersey club record, and I do like a pump pop. But it's like, can we make something that sounds cohesive and like actually feels sonically like a project, even though I'm able to go in all these different directions? And like part of me just want to do like sometimes I'm just like, man, I just want to make an Atlanta song type song, like
Yeah.
Atlanta Morissette type song, or like a, like a Metallica type song, but it's like good for me to actually try to make something that's gonna sonically feel like it's part of a project.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the cool things that's it's happening a lot in hip hop right now of an MC collaborating with a specific producer, right? And they did that project together, right? And it's Lil MC and Hoove did where did the dreamers go, right? So it's kind of like that's the sound right here, and sometimes that sound is just an album, and sometimes it's a part one, a part two, a part three, a part four, right? And so it kind of helps to make it a sound that people are familiar with. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that's funny you say that because one of the biggest like sonic inspirations for the album, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Alina Perez and Galimatius, the producer, they made this album called Urban Flora, and it's like R&B soul, but it's like super glitchy and lucid and dreamy. But it's like she only sounds that way with him as the producer. Her other music sound like, in my opinion, like very basic, So
Yeah.
it's you can like create a very unique sound just being paired with a certain producer. Like that's like you're almost like your own band, I guess, or group.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. I'm gonna have to look them up. I'm not familiar with it, but this kind of brings something interesting to me because it's such a good soundbite, right? When talking about your diversity and your range, something that comes up is that you were classically trained as a piano player, and that you've gone on to be a freestyle artist and actually win battle raps, right? Rap battles, right? That kind of shows what we're talking about when it's like, rock to glitch, classically trained piano to rap battles. Maybe spend a little bit of time telling us about the classically trained piano and then the rap battles.
Yeah. So I've been like making music, it feels like my whole life, but I guess literally since the age of 7, maybe 6. And I fell in love with the piano, and that was the first instrument I ever loved. And like after that, I played clarinet, percussion, but I stuck with piano. Like I would just be sitting there on the piano for hours and hours and hours. And I had many different instructors, and I played piano all the way up until high school. And then I kind of like was going through all this crazy stuff, and I stopped playing it. But yeah, it was just something that like came very naturally to me. And I still like, play keys a little bit here and there. I teach piano for beginners and whatnot, but I'm not saucy with it anymore. Like, don't ask me to like play some like crazy Beethoven because, but I think being classically trained in piano and just being musically trained and like learning how to play music is like learning a language, and it's helpful because now I produce. And so
Yeah.
I think that was like one of the greatest assets for me with like encouraging myself to learn how to produce, because it was like I wasn't able to get the type of music and beats that I wanted from producers because like I was hearing something that they weren't able to play. And so like that really kind of, I feel like, made my production style very unique.
Yeah. And to kind of finish off on the piano, because I'm really interested how that connects to the production. Um, there's different types of producers. There's like MPC, like beat machines and things like that. Then there's like keyboard Tritons, ASR 10s, and then there's like DAW, where you just kind of work on a computer and combinations of those, right? Being that you're classically trained pianist, did you lean towards like keyboard beat making?
I actually learned on Ableton Push, but like I'll bring in the keyboard definitely too. I think like what I really like to do is like I like to chop and flip samples, but then I also like to play music over it, and then I like to like play bass lines a lot on like MIDI keyboard. But like the Ableton Push is like my best friend. I love the push.
That's dope. That's dope. And then when you chop the samples, do you like chopping them up like the loop, or do you like chopping them into like a keyboard where they're like different keys? And since you know how to do keys, right? Because this, I mean, in that the producer world is so interesting how um just within hip hop they produce in so many different ways. So I'm always curious, how a producer does it.
Yeah, and I wish I was able to dedicate more time to production, but I just don't, just because I'm so busy. But like I like to do everything, and it's really like what I love so much about production is that I get to like take off my writer hat and just kind of like feel it and whatever feels best. Like sometimes I will play it, sometimes I'll like literally just work within the DAW like on the screen and just like take little parts and like rearrange them like a puzzle and see what sounds good. But like I think one of the issues that I often have with my beats is like I do so much with it that like it's difficult to rap over. But that's
Right,
like,
the music, you're like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just like, let's keep adding more and more. And I'm like, wait, someone has to rap on this. But I'm really grateful because I have a lot of students that like ask me to produce for them. Otherwise, I probably like would not produce.
wow. That's really, really dope. Yeah, when looking back at your discography, you got the upcoming project produced by Who's, but then Flex Machina, Pink Cloud, um, Punisher, you one and two. Did you self-produce any of these, or like how much of your own production are you rapping on in your career, and how much of it, are you like now kind of just working with people like Unlearn and Who's?
So Flex Machina, I produced a third of that album, and I co-produced another third. So it's like me and Unlearn produced a third of it together while like we both produced it. A third of it was just me, and then a third of it was like other producers. And then like Rat in a Cage is I produced it, and then I had 10 beats like add guitar to it. So I like to do like a lot of co-producing.
That's dope. That's dope. So the other part of the thing that we were talking about, like how broad your talent is. We were talking about the piano, the production. Let's talk about the rap battles, right? Because that always is just like it's just such a good soundbite, right? It's like I came in to Oakland, which is not like a soft place, right? And like won the rap battle or like participated in the rap battle. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I went into rap battling when I was like 22, I want to say. I had just split up with my son's dad, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm about to just go out here. Like, I'm so like, life is just messed up right now. I did not know what I was expecting. I went to what was formerly known as Tourette's Without Regrets. Now it's called Ruckus Revival, but it used to be held at the Metro Opera House in Oakland. And it was like this crazy warehouse. And like when I first walked in there, they were playing like pig heart baseball, which is exactly like what it sounds like. Like they were playing baseball in the crowd with an actual pig heart. And I was like, am I in that right place? Are they going to do rap battles? So I eventually found someone and I told them I wanted to battle, and they were like, "You want to battle?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like the only girl for sure, and like very, you know, I stood out obviously, and it was scary. It was super scary. It was like a heck of people. Like I want to say 300 people in there, maybe
Wow.
more. I can't remember. I made it past the first round. And then the second round, I went against the homie B Nasty. He was like one of the most. He's won more battles than almost anyone there. And I think we actually did 2 rounds against each other, but I
Wow.
eventually lost. That was my first. That was my first intro in rap battling. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I did
And
I.
had you already like were you I imagine you were already like frequently freestyling and rapping, but you had not because the rap battles like one thing is improvising and another thing is battling another individual, right? So that was your first battle, but you had already been freestyling for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I started freestyling when I was 17, and then I became obsessed, like very, very, very obsessed. All I did every day, all day in the car, at school, writing raps, freestyling, like off the top of the dome. Like, yeah, that was my shit. So I've been rapping for like a long time. I'd even recorded some records, but that was the first time I went to a rap battle. And I mean, to be honest, like my passion never lied in rap battling. It's just like a necessary avenue and pathway that I had to take in order for people to actually respect me. And
Yeah.
like shout out Jamie the Wolf. I always give him so many props for what he's done. Like he's put me on so many times. Like I've won so many different like competitions with Ruckus Revival. And then from there, I met folks at Return of the Cypher, which no longer exists, but that used to be like a very like well-known ciphering spot in San Francisco. And I won the MVP battles there a couple of times. I think the first time I did it and I was like hammered and I won. I was like, cool. But like it was just something that I needed to do in order for people to take me seriously.
Yeah, so the competitions you're talking about, just to make sure that people know what they are and we could capture them, are those just like freestyle competitions?
So some of them were freestyle battles. Some of them were compliment battles that were written. Some of them were like just they would call slams, right? So they would choose like like either poets, comedians, singers, whatever. Like different people would do a piece, and then like the audience would vote on like of the five, like which one was the best. I won like 4 of those or something crazy, which is dope.
Wow.
I've won every compliment battle I've ever done. And then we would do these battles like because they'd have certain themes like Star Wars theme night and Harry Potter theme. So like I battled uh C3PO as R2D2, and then I also battled
That's like
Dumbledore.
mad complex. That's like super innovative, but also like you gotta get into character. It's like cosplay rap or something.
Yeah, yeah. And so like I know I'm way better at like written battles for sure. I mean, I think like the freestyle battles, I just kind of knew what to say, and it was like looking back at them, I'm like, I can't even watch this. Like it's so terrible. But yeah, I definitely feel like my skill as like someone that like studies the opponent and like can write, I'm better at that for sure
Yeah.
than battles. Yeah, but I still won some, which was cool. But yeah, I please don't look them up.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really amazing that you have that chapter in your career. A lot of people don't. Oftentimes, um, there's people that kind of move in the freestyle lane or the battle rap lane, and they don't cross over into the album and songwriting lane, right? And then vice versa. There's a lot of people that make great records, but they won't actually go and battle somebody. So the fact that you've worn multiple hats and have had success in every like in all the different areas, it's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, talking about some of the other things that you're involved in, it's come up a little bit in conversation, but you're very much involved in education, using hip hop to empower youth and as an ambassador of hip hop. Maybe we could kind of jump into that lane a bit. Um, the thing that kind of jumps out immediately to me is the work you're doing there in the Bay Area, Hip Hop for Change. Maybe talk to us about that, your students, and how people who maybe want to participate in that can get access to it.
Yeah, for sure. I joined Hip Hop for Change in 2018. I actually started as like an intern, you know. I basically reached out and was like, Unlearn was a close friend, and I was like, yo, I want to get involved. Like, I'll do whatever I need to do. And then, I became an educator, and I just like loved it, and I dedicated my life to just trying to be the best educator that I could. And I worked my way up to program coordinator, developed tons of different youth artist residency programs, paid programs, studio sessions, built out our website. Yeah, like, I pretty much did whatever they needed me to do, I would do. Um, I am leaving Hip Hop for Change, so closing out that chapter in my life, trying to move on to the next stage. I just, been there for 8 years and time to move on. But yeah, hip hop education is something that's like really near and dear to my heart, especially like the community work, the cultural activism. Being like a rap activist is something that I want to continue to do, and definitely being a cultural diplomat is something that I'm like super passionate and trying to find my way into, like
Yeah.
permanent.
Yeah. That's I'm sad to hear that you're going there, but I know that, that's the way life is. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep like evolving and reinventing and growing. I find the whole category of um hip hop and education, hip hop and the youth, using the four elements of hip hop, but then also combining it with um like business skills, real life skills, and then just like, traditional education, history, English, grammar, writing, creativity, art, all these things that you kind of learn in school. Like hip hop is like such good, it's like it goes with everything, right? You can kind of use it for so many athleticism, right? Like you got like there's so many things. Now with technology, I mean, it's just endless, right? You can kind of just use it over and over again. Can you share with us maybe some of the things you've helped to develop and some of the ways that you guys have used hip hop for education and for the youth?
Man, you can build hip hop into any curriculum. And I think that was like my major skill set is like I would be able to see partnerships and alignment in everything. Like, for instance, I just had a meeting with the Academy of Sciences, and they were like, we have this program where we're trying to get kids more interested in birds, and we're trying to integrate it into like somehow making it like a beat making workshop. And I was like, man, we've done that because one of our flagship programs, Agents of Change, is a summer youth artist in residency program where we actually take kids, and we partnered with the park, with the East Bay Regional Parks, and the kids that are selected for the program, they learn about nature, they learn about the local ecology, and then they also learn about all the elements of hip hop, and then they create a hip hop project based on what they've learned. And one of the easiest ways to see alignment is that number one, hip hop started in the park, but because you can also fight like a lot of oppressive actions, like how there's pollution often tends to be in urban areas.
Yeah.
Like we don't learn a lot about the indigenous uses and practices, and native uses for plants. We're not like given that information. It's just like a lot of ways that you can see that hip hop can be used to kind of like educate and excite kids to want to learn about these things. And like
Yeah.
oftentimes when program, they're like, man, I met my best friend here and I learned so much. And like they probably learn more than I do because I'm like trying to run around and like coordinate the whole program. And I'm like, that's really dope because I don't see any other programs like that out there. And we pay them too. So it's like entrepreneurship as well. It's like more like an
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Another thing that you're involved in is Next Level, which is such a dope thing, right? And it's an honor to be selected. So you've been a part of Next Level USA. Talk to us about what it is, maybe people that don't know about it, and then your participation in it.
oh my God. Shout out Junius and Kane and everyone from Next Level. Man, that was like one of the best experiences of my life. So Next Level is a cultural diplomacy program where they like as a hip hop practitioner, but also an educator, you apply and you're selected to go to one of a number of different countries depending on the cohort, and you go with one person from each element, and you go to that country, you partner with the other embassy there, and you essentially like run hip hop workshops and programs culminating in some sort of like performance depending on where you're at, and like the what kind of resources you're provided with. So I was selected and I went to Grenada with an amazing cohort. We had so much fun, and I had like 30. I think I had like upwards of 20, maybe 28 to 32 MCs in my cohort. It was like the largest of all the different elements. And they were like grown, they weren't kids. They were like in their 20s to 40s. And they were just such a pleasure to work with, so dope, such a positive attitude. I just learned so much from them. And we put on the craziest performance for the US Embassy. Um, yeah, I mean, one of the like biggest hip hop icons from Grenada, his son was actually in my class, in my cohort, and I didn't realize until the performance day when people are like, "Do you know who that is?" Like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and the Prime Minister of Grenada showed up. Like, it was lit. It was super lit, and we performed and we recorded a bunch of ciphers too. So yeah, man, that was just like such an amazing experience.
That's so dope. Are you planning on doing it again?
So I don't know what's gonna happen with Next Level. Hopefully, he sticks around. This administration is like,
Also, it might be one of the programs that the cuts in funding may impact it.
yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that they'll still find other ways to run the program. But it is something that's funded by the State Department. But that's not to say that they couldn't get funding elsewhere and continue doing it in some
Yeah.
iteration. And I would love to continue somehow being connected. I just I knew I was leaving Hip Hop for Change. I had started transitioning out, and I was ready and looking for the next thing I wanted to do. So I was like, man, I just want to do a really good job to hopefully find a way to continue working with Next Level. And because I love to travel, I love cultural diplomacy work. It's the third time I've done hip hop cultural diplomacy, but it was just the first time with Next Level.
Got it. And because the one I'm most familiar with, and I've had the chance to interview some other people, and they always pick really dope MCs, and it's interesting because they've gone to all over, right? To Africa and Latin America and Grenada now you're telling us. But what are the other ones that you've done cultural diplomacy?
So I did an arts envoy program, Hip Hop for Change. We got selected, which is just another like state-run cultural exchange program. We went to El Salvador, literally like right before COVID hit. It was the end of February 2019, which was crazy.
Wow. And it was the end of February, so basically, like you almost got stuck in El Salvador.
Oh, for real. Yeah. 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 But it was
Bro,
super.
but boosters are delicious though, right? So you could have been like kicking it on what's that, Surf City, Surf Beach.
I would have been. Yeah, I mean, we were in San Salvador, so it wasn't like near the coast, but I would have been. I mean, I feel like I would have been chilling. But yeah, that was super dope. We worked with educators and then reformed gang members, and we did like something very similar to Next Level, where we like worked with them and all. We had like a DJ, we had breakdancing, emceeing, beat making, and then we culminated with like a big performance. We were actually supposed to go back out there and do like a bunch of touring, but COVID prevented us from doing that. I would have been so
Wow.
dope.
Wow.
And then the
Yeah,
we actually built the program Hip Hop for Change did in partnership with another nonprofit called Lo-Fi Learning. We went and we actually took two of our youth, 10 Beats, who I keep name dropping, shout out,
shout out
and
10 Beats.
so dope with it. And then Mally, we took them to Taiwan with like a cohort of educators, and it was more like a cultural exchange. Like we really learned a lot about Taiwanese culture, but then we put on like a raw ass sick hip hop show, and like it got turned. Yeah, that was dope.
That's so, and I mean, it's really dope how you're like, um, you've got your career and dropping like new, show this weekend. Show is it tomorrow? Tomorrow's the show?
Sunday, 2 days.
Yeah, Sunday. So show Sunday, video shoot, new album, but at the same time, education, all within the creative space, cultural diplomacy. Like I mean, it's international. Like you're in your international bag also. Really, really dope. Um, your background is you're Latina, Venezuelan, right? Venezolana. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about like coming up.
and with that background, how it's worked its way into your music. Um, you know, would you like to go back and kind of like, perform out there at one of your shows?
Yeah. Actually, being in Grenada was the closest I've been to Venezuela since I was like maybe 10 or 11.
Wow.
Um, so my father is from Caracas, Venezuela. That's where my family's from. And for whatever reason, he gave up his citizenship. And so, since the embargo between Venezuela and the United States, it was difficult to travel on. And now it's like damn near impossible. You have to like go to Colombia and like give up your passport and it's sketch. And
Yeah.
really hard to travel there. I it's sad. Like I was very close with my abuelita, but unfortunately she passed last year. But she lived to the age of 99. But like I wasn't able to go to her
Wow.
funeral. So that's been really hard. But yeah, my family on my dad's side, like I have a lot of love for them. Like I actually a lot of my family from Venezuela kind of like lives in different parts of the world now, just
Yeah.
because to live there. So I have family in Panama and Ciudad de Mexico, in Europe, in Spain. And so I actually go out to Panama to see my cousins like almost every year. Just because I love them so much. And I mean Panama's super dope. And just stay connected with them because I mean, my dad never taught me Spanish growing up. I like took it upon myself to learn it. I feel like there's something to like being an immigrant and feeling like you gotta assimilate. And my dad experienced like a lot of racism.
Yeah.
Um, he like won't even admit it, and I'm just like, bro, what? Like they called you hella crazy things, but yeah. And so I just like I really, really wanted to be able to communicate with my family and like stay tapped into my ancestors. Like my ancestors from Venezuela are fire. Like they're like in the Amazon, like that that shit. Like I feel that, when I was out there, like when I was out in Grenada, like I learned so much because I was talking to them, and Grenada is a really crazy, really dope island. It's almost 100% African, and they have the second lowest crime rate in the world. There's only about 11
Wow.
a year, and the granted it's a small island, right? But it's still very
Yeah.
nonviolent, and they really ride heavy for Venezuelans because it's actually like one of the closest islands to Venezuela, like to Caracas in particular. And like so when everything was going on politically between Venezuela and the United States, like the Grenadians were not going to do some, we're going to ride for the Venezuelans. Like, we're going to, protect them. We're not going to, spy on them or do anything like that. And so when I was out there, like, it gave me, like, just like, I just felt like a little extra bit of connection out there. And I could actually see the border of Venezuela from my room sometimes on like a really clear day. Yeah.
So, and you were just over there like kind of recently. So it was, post everything that's happened with Maduro and what's been
Yeah.
happening, the current dynamic between the U.S. and Venezuela. This was in this is now, right? You just did this trip in this current climate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a
Wow.
less than a month ago. Yeah. And I still have family in Caracas. Like they were there when like the planes came and the bombs came. Like they told us like they could hear it. Yeah. It was crazy. Like this whole year has been super crazy. It's like
Yeah.
the Venezuela has really been talked about like this in such a degree. Most people don't even know where Venezuela is. It's like just so
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. Wow, what an amazing experience. Because geographically, I wasn't clear where how close Grenada was to Venezuela. So the fact that you're Venezuelan and that you were there and that you can actually see it, on a clear day, that's just so fascinating. If the opportunity kind of comes together and because I think they're talking about like kind of like normalizing relationships so that people could travel, right? Because there's such a big Venezuelan diaspora in the world. It's what you were talking about. I know when I was like backpacking through Europe and I was in Spain, there was a lot of Venezuelans and Colombians, specifically in Spain, because the language also and they got good benefits up in Spain. You know what I mean? But but yeah, my family's from Chile, right? So there's like a lot of Venezuelans in Chile. So this has happened because of what's happened politically and economically. Um, as things kind of normalize, if they normalize, is that something you'd want to do? Is go over there, maybe take your music there?
So badly. Yeah, very badly. I mean, there's a lot of really dope Venezuelan rappers too, especially female rappers.
Yeah,
Like a big hip in Colombia as well. Like I was just
yeah,
really lucky in South America. Like I was low
yeah.
key my residency for next level was going to be in South America, but I was still super grateful for how it all turned out because Grenada was super dope. But I would love. It's all I've wanted my whole life is to go back. My dad kind of like instilled this weird fear in me. He's like, no,
Yeah,
you
he
can't.
got out, right? That from his perspective, he got out, right? From your perspective, you're like, that's my roots.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's so complicated and like difficult. I think about it often, but he's like, no, if you go with me, they're gonna know you're American. There's potential for you to get held hostage, and like he just kind of like made Venezuela like this big boogeyman, and I just like don't think it's like I know it's bad. Like obviously I'm aware, but I just don't think it's as bad as he's making it seem, especially when I talk to like my family that's there. So I really want to go out there. Obviously, like I would want to move smart. Just traveling as a woman by yourself in general, like you just can't be stupid.
Yeah.
Um, but it's definitely a goal of mine.
Yeah. There was this guy in college like a long time ago, and he was from Venezuela, and he put me on to Venezuelan hip hop. And there was this group called Vagos y Maleantes, and they had done like a whole like movie, right? The dude was like in the movie, and they had done the soundtrack, and like I mean everything was like. And then I just don't know what happened. I gotta. You kind of putting it back on my radar because um, I've interviewed some artists from Colombia and from Latin America, and I really want to kind of give that space more attention. I think that there's like so much talent and hip hop, and this is one of the things that you've actually done. You've gone and as a diplomacy programs and culture exchange and shared hip hop around the world. But there is hip hop around the world, and it's fascinating. And I think that needs to be captured somewhere.
Hip hop is like, I mean, just like music is a universal language. And you know what was really crazy about Grenada is like we both speak English, right? But like they have a very thick accent. And it was funny because I was like, sometimes it would be hard for me to understand their accent. And I was like, but do you understand mine? They're like, you don't have an accent. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we understand
Oh,
thing. Like, yeah. And I was like, oh, word. And like, and like one of the other interesting conversations I had with them is like, again, to kind of like piggyback up what I was saying about how like there's such a low crime rate. It's actually like such a safe country. And one of the things they brought up is like it's so difficult for us to figure out what to write about as rappers because like so much of like the rap in the US is about conflict, it's about struggle, it's about poverty, it's about violence, all this negative stuff. And like what I had to do was reframe it as like you don't need to sound like that, like you should just
yeah,
rap what's true to you and what's authentic. And like soca is the cultural music out there, and it's like
yeah.
it was like it's really beautiful, but it's just like so positive. It's almost like too positive for me. I'm like, whoa, like this is.
Living it up.
And it's like, but if you know the story of what soca is, it's like making something celebratory out of like like finding liberation and freedom after slavery and stuff like that. And it's like so beautiful, but it was just like something that was so different to me, especially like going out to the clubs and stuff. It's just like everything's so happy and vibrant, and I'm like, man, I'm like grimy, like like they played 150 Cent song, and I swear to God, I was like, oh man, no one else like cared. But yeah, it's just I think that's the thing about hip hop is like we misconstrue that like it has to sound like our story, the American story, but it's like nah, it's just that's just where it was birthed. But like you should tell your story, and that's how you avoid like appropriation. Like we've
Yeah,
some seen things get like a little bit questionable, like in other
yeah,
countries they try to appropriate like hip hop, which is a black art form, right? It's like you guys should just use it as a way to express yourself through your own vantage point and your experience, and then avoid like the weird like braiding your
yeah,
hair, blackface, like what that's very crazy and unnecessary, like for you to put a hip hop show on in another country. But
yeah.
that and they when I told them that, they were able to really like create music that was super authentic and genuine and beautiful. And I was like, see, this is the music the world needs because it's your story and no one's heard it before. It's new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really dope. Hip hop as like an approach and methodology, not as this has to be this specific theme, right? It's like the theme is whatever your life, whatever. Everybody's got struggle. If you need struggle, everybody's got, ups and downs, right? Nostalgia, melancholy, uh, broken hearts, plus when to go out and party. I mean, this is like I think it's all universal. It's just how you communicate it.
Yeah, I mean, and they also like they tapped into that as well. One of the things that I really like focused on with them, because they were very like advanced. They weren't like, it wasn't like teaching 5-year-olds how to rap. Like they could rap. They're super dope. And so they really wanted to know more about like artist development. And so I talked to them about how to tell their story, like they were writing a movie, because fans want to watch the story and see what's going to happen. And there are pretty much like 8 main storylines, right? There's like the rags to riches story. There's like the rebirth story. There's the hero defeating the villain story. There's 8, and they just get recreated and remixed over time.
Yeah.
And so I told them about all of those, and I'm like, what's your story? Like maybe it's a mix of both. And then I told them my, like, look, my story is like a little bit of tragedy with rebirth, and then but this is why people hopefully want to watch and stay tuned in with me, because they're still waiting to see what happens next. But
Yeah.
no matter what the story is, like, you're gonna find an audience as long as you're true to whatever you're creating and telling.
That's dope. That's dope. See, that's that screenplay. That's that movie. That's that movie right there.
Yes.
Um, talking about, your story. You like two things stand out to me that I was like, man, she's making crazy moves. One is the recent I guess we'll just call it like a freestyle with the Punchline Academy, and then the other is the A Train, and just going out to the East Coast. Maybe you could talk to us about those two experiences, which are really, first of all, not anybody could get on them, right? First of all, let's just start there, and then second of all, you bodied both of them, right? So, like, let's talk about that experience and how special it was.
Man, well, I came from cyphers and battle raps and stuff like that. So I feel like when trying to figure out like how I really want to stand out, it's like I just really want to find people that love bars and rapping and delivery and performance. Like I'm not a SoundCloud rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like I really I'm really surgical with it. Like you don't even know how long it'd be taking me to write bars sometimes. People are like, why? It's like because like every syllable and every word and multi-meaning, whatever. So New York obviously is like a spot that I go out to a lot, because man, it's like most of my like favorite rappers come from New York, and they don't play, especially with the cyphers. So I started at Legendary Cyphers. I got featured on there a couple of times, and like I met a bunch of dope rappers, dope spitters. I got invited to do other things. And then, lo and behold, like a
Wow.
check it out, or was I still there?
Right. That so it dropped for a second, but I can hear you now.
Um, Yeah, so it's like 200 women, and they're all very different and all very talented. And we're like jam packed onto these trains. It's going from the Bronx all the way like through the boroughs to Manhattan. And they just have like
So
this
y'all
little,
just took over a train.
yes. And it's like so many of
So
us.
whoever was already on the train, excuse me, but we're about to do this, and y'all just piled into that train.
It like, and the fact that people kept trying to get onto that same, I'm sweating like whatever. And like I thought we was definitely a couple times on the loudspeaker. Like I thought the cops were gonna get called, but like they didn't. And I'm trying to be respectful, because like I'm from Cali, I'm from the West Coast. Like I was the only West Coast artist there.
Wow.
So like I wasn't about to like elbow my way up until eventually like it got to be a point where it's like, all right, it's time. Like I've been super patient, and I actually spit a verse that is gonna be on my album, and I'm like, phew, I hope people don't get offended by this, but I'm just gonna do it.
Wow. That's so dope. That what a cool experience.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
The DJ Infamous, I also met him out in New York. Yeah, we filmed like our own Punchline Academy just for me, and then he got bits, and I told him about the
Oh,
bits.
I heard about that. Yeah, out there. It was on the bay, right?
I told him, but it's okay. It's okay.
People don't understand, right? That's how, man. I'm telling you, like out here in LA too, it's not as because I'm from DC, so the East Coast is different from the West Coast, and in different ways. It's just they're just different. Over here, you gotta be careful, man.
It's not like I try to say like don't even leave like a McDonald's bag in there. Like don't, like seriously, especially in downtown Oakland. Like what? And so my Punchline Academy got bipped, the one that I recorded in New York. So I was sad, but it was cool because they were already gonna have me. They heard what I did, and they're like, dude, you're dope. Like, come and actually helped them with the San Francisco one, like helped them spot the location. I like tried to refer a couple artists and whatnot. And so that was a really dope experience, and I think I'm probably gonna do another one with them too. But yeah, it was. I mean, the verse that I ended up spitting, that wasn't even the verse I was gonna spit. I was gonna do like a new one, and then when I stepped up there, I kind of forgot it, and I was like, okay, and I just switched it. It ended up working out. God wanted me to spit that one, so that was cool.
Yeah, could you talk to us about that? Like, how many verses do you have in your mind? How much, like, kind of like go-to material? How much new material? How much of it is just your experience from live performances? And you can kind of like weave your way through. I got these 4 bars, and I got these 8 bars, but I know these 4 are really good. This part's tricky. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna jump into. You know what I'm saying? Talk to us about some real MC shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of like my ability to improvise on the spot comes from teaching, especially when it comes to having like particular bars, because you don't even understand how many times I have to prove myself to these children. Like they do not believe I am with it. They didn't believe I was going to Grenada. Like they're just like whatever. Like I have to prove myself. Like, who are you? So winning over kids like by rapping is like really how I developed my ability to just like on the spot spit a verse, because they'll be, I mean, what I would do with these kids is something that Frack actually does a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with Frack, but like I would have them give me like the
Yeah.
hard to think of, and I would write them on a board and I would freestyle like the words, and then they would really know that I was with it, and then they would respect me, and then we could like finally learn stuff.
They
But
listen a little bit.
right, I'm just like, let me flex on you. I will rhyme supercalifragilisticdocious, whatever word you want. But like being in ciphers, like, that's how I came up, was like literally like elbowing my way into ciphers that were all male dominated at the time. Cause like we're
Yeah.
talking, 2010,
Yeah.
2009, right? Like that there's a way more women MCs now, but like at that time there were no women MCs. It just, there wasn't a lot of them. And anytime I went anywhere, there was none. And so like I always was just like, I'm gonna elbow my way in. And so like doing stuff like legendary ciphers where you also really gotta elbow your way in. Like I don't know if have you been to legendary ciphers in New York?
I have not. Mm-mm.
It's like huge. It's like I would say argue like one of the biggest ciphers like in the world, and they do it weekly for like a certain amount of time of the year when it's not like freezing cold in New York. But it's like you have to like elbow your way in, and like you better be dope or you will get wrapped over within the first 4 bars. So it's like having like those good intro bars. Like if you forget whatever verse you were gonna say, like freestyling your way into another verse, and like just thinking about like, this beat is dope, like I'm gonna come in here. Like it's just the art of performance and the art of emceeing, and I think it's actually something that's like integral to being a hip hop MC in general that like we've kind of forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah. That's dope, man. I wanted to ask you about one specific video that we didn't get a chance to talk about that really stood out to me. It's your pyramid scheming, right? Like that show you out in the desert. There's like a whole plot. People are running around with knives. There's like characters, right? And it's a relatively recent video. Talk to us maybe about that song, that video, and the thought behind it.
Man, I put so much thought into so many things, and I'm gonna try to not be like too over wordy. So Marvin Santiago, he's super dope video director. I met him on a panel at a community college for Latinos and Latinas, and he directed it. And I told him like I wanted to make a music video for this song, Pyramid Scheming, and I wanted it to be like kind of inspired by the movie Dune. And he was like that, and he wrote a whole, treatment, like super professional, because he's like really a movie director. Like he's worked with like Ludacris and like Fast
Wow.
and well, like he's done like really big artists. And he made all those weapons with a 3D printer that like we totally broke like a million times. Um,
Oh, he was all the way in it. Like homie like was printing weapons and writing the treatment and on top of shooting it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Shout out to him. Everybody needs a Santiago in their life.
They do. He's fired. Please check him out. It's super nice guy. Like he's actually came in and done workshops with the youth at Hip Hop for Change. Like he's a real one. And he's hella supports the Latinos and like Latino community. So I just like working with people that I feel like are like for the community, good folks. But yeah, we definitely like had to make fight choreography. Those are like my best friends, and they are not artists at all. And they were like, I don't want my face showing. I don't want anyone to so it's like, cool, we'll just like put these masks over and like paint your hands different colors. So it's like not anything, like no one will be able to discern who you are. But yeah, we were out there in the desert for a long, long time. I left with sand in all the wrong places.
Wow. What desert were you guys? Is there desert out there in the Bay?
Yeah, I know. Good question. It's Pismo Beach. It's definitely not a desert. It's a sandy dune.
No, because I don't know, right? Because out here in LA, you can get to the desert.
Right.
So you can make it out there.
Nah, it was Pismo Beach, but like those dunes look crazy out there.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I was like, okay. And for most of the music videos I've ever done, like I've always had been really inspired by movies. I really like
Yeah,
movies. And only until recently I've been like, all right, like most people watch content on Instagram, unfortunately,
yeah,
and not to me, it doesn't feel like it's always worth to invest so much money, time, and energy in a music video that people are just gonna see on Instagram and like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, that's it's kind of a little bit of we've got these distribution platforms now for music and for videos and for movies, but everything's kind of moved to the short format, right? Which is kind of like the premise of your upcoming album and screenplay. So it's all kind of tying together, and it's interesting. As we start to wrap, I want to make sure people know you're performing in Los Angeles. For people in the Los Angeles area, you're here on Sunday. You shared with us you're also going to be shooting a video for Lucid with Surrealist, incredible artist in his own right. Um, you have the album coming up. Is there any more details you could share with us about the album that you want people to know? Maybe like when it drops, or any other details that you want to share?
I wish I knew when it was gonna drop, but I'm definitely gonna be dropping some more singles. You'll get at least like 5 more singles. I'm actually gonna record 2 more tracks when I'm out there. I'm gonna be a busy girl this weekend. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I literally just had surgery like a week ago, so I'm just
I
kind
saw something. Yeah, what I'm saying, I wasn't gonna necessarily bring it up, but yeah, I saw that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces.
life been crazy, but yeah, I wish I could give y'all more something a little more concrete, but you just stay tuned in and tapped in. I'm dropping stuff regularly, and the next like 6 months you're gonna get a lot of singles from the album from me, all produced by Who's. All are gonna be crazy, and they're for the rappers. So yeah, this next one, I was just saying, like I was in my house last night writing, and it is some of the craziest stuff I've ever written in my life. So I'm
Wow.
able to like leave Earth in my own mind. Sometimes you got to be by yourself to write the best stuff, and yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Lil MC, I'm so honored to have you on the show. I'm so glad that this came together. I've wanted to have you on the show for like literally years now, and then things just keep moving, and I'm always like, all right, it's gonna happen, and then the moment happened right now. But I hope we get a chance to like run it back sometime in the future. And congratulations on all the crazy moves you've been making.
Man, thank you. I'm so happy we got to sit down and talk. I love talking with someone that like really loves hip hop, does their research. It was a great conversation. And yeah, I'll be back whenever you want. Just let me know. I mean, I say that, but whenever we're both not busy, we'll make it happen again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Congratulations on the new project, the new single, the show on Sunday, the upcoming video work, and everything that you've done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Build with you again soon. Peace.